Hey guys, I wanted to discuss the elephant in the room, Ram. I do not like Ram personally, okay? I do not like her personally. Let me put you into my experience in terms of Ram as a character. When I was watching the anime, I I kind of liked her. I wasn't really that interested in her, you know? I did like Amelia much better. I genuinely just didn't understand why people liked her that much. But I didn't mind her. Okay, I did think it was a bit wild that people went from seeing her torture him and kill him to absolutely adoring her. I thought it was a very wild tradition, like transition in terms of like the recency of her what she did, but I didn't really mind it that much because I knew that some people they just process things differently in my opinion at the time. I didn't really mind it that much. I thought, oh, she's well, I see how she's actually well written and stuff. She has good parallels with Subaru and stuff like that. I didn't really like her, but I know she was well written, and I didn't mind having her in the story. And for a long time, I was solely in for the polygamy route just so that Subaru would be as happy as he possibly could be. Because I genuinely thought he deserved the absolute world after everything he'd been through. Okay? I genuinely believe that. And then I got into Reddit and I saw the absolutely horrifyingly bad takes that some of these REM fans had. And it got so bad that at this point I separate REM fans into two categories. Normal, not even normal, I can't call them normal because that would be inaccurate. REM fans with logical thinking skills, as I dub just REM fans, okay? And then there are fans that are absolute with this dog shit ass takes that I cannot stand in any regard whatsoever. And I will personally title them Filthy REM Glazers. They will take all of her actions and try to justify them or say she shouldn't face consequences for said actions. It is completely wild that you can make takes like that, considering that she killed and tortured an innocent 17-year-old boy. No, hell no. Before I saw these kinds of takes, I was on the side of, yeah, she did horrible things, but she also saved his life. So I think she's at least made up for what she did. But honestly, with all the people doing this ridiculous ass shit, I literally can't stand her anymore. I literally hate her because of her fans. I did not hate her before her fans did this bullshit. I do hate her now. And I keep hearing on the Reddit about how, oh, Amelia fans are just as bad. No, they're not. There is one reason why they can't possibly be as bad as Rem fans. One, Rem fans and Amelia fans will slander each other as much as you want. You will be able to acknowledge that very clearly. The fact of the matter is, slander is going to be part of pretty much any community. It's going to happen. And mostly, it's just hate filled rage bait. It's not substantial, and it's most of the time they're not even serious about what they're posting. They just think it's funny and they post it. It's not a serious, like, statement or argument against any character. It's just slander. Okay? You can slander any character in the series and not truly believe your slander. You just think it's funny and you post it, which is completely fine in my opinion. I don't actually like if characters being slandered causes bans in subreddits. I don't like that because it is a, how do I say it? It is a restriction of free will. And I will admit I have done this myself when it comes to another character from a different series where I have restricted speech in terms of slandering a certain character. It was my only rule in the platform that I did it, but eventually I realized I was in the wrong, that I shouldn't be participating in such actions because it is a restriction of free will. So I'm completely okay with slander at this point. If I see the slander for that character I was talking about in my platform, I just either ignore it or play it off for laughs. Okay? So I'm not talking about actual slander because that shouldn't at all be accounted into the fact of how bad Rem or Emilia fans are. Okay? What I'm talking about is the fact that Rem has to start from a position where she is lower than Emilia, purely because of the fact that she has done horrific actions towards Subaru. This is a fact that cannot be denied. I don't mind people liking Rem. I truly don't mind it. And the Rem fans out there that actually have logical thinking skills, and I know there are some of them, I have met some of them on that same Reddit, okay, where they've actually been able to come up with good arguments and have acknowledged the faults of the character. Those people, bless you, okay? You are a blessing to the world. We need more people like you. But the majority of the Rem fans I meet are literally just filthy glazers. They will completely ignore all of her actions, all of her crimes, and state that she's some kind of perfect character. That is that is not only completely false, but would also make her a bad character. Acknowledging the flaws of your favorite character shows that you think that that character is actually well written. All right? For example, if Rem was just some perfect character, like perfect in every way, she never did anything wrong, she has no flaws, I would literally not be able to stand her whatsoever. Okay? Because she would have literally no personality whatsoever. I would genuinely feel that her only purpose is to be a romantic rival to Emilia, which is absolutely pathetic for a character to be. That is genuinely not what Rem is in the story. She is a significant part of the story, even though it feels like sometimes she's a plot device, she technically isn't. I have made the point that she has been a plot device. I was wrong, I'll admit that, okay? The fact of the matter is that Rem fans themselves detract from her character and make her seem very one dimensional. They make her seem like she's just some freaking gooner material. And honestly, I have seen Rem fans shame Emilia fans saying, "You are less than human." Are you serious, my guy? Because I have seen shit from Rem fans which are absolutely disgusting. I have seen Rem fans do slander videos. I've seen one specific Rem fan. I won't misinform you guys. I've seen one specific Rem fan make a slander post where they showed Rem's torture scene of Subaru and they literally just put a Sora AI on it. I understand this is just for jokes, but holy shit, that was absolutely disgusting. I understand that slander should be allowed, okay? It's completely fine. But oh my god, that was absolutely disgusting. Even if I say that it should be allowed, there should be limits to this shit, man. Slander Subaru in whatever way you want, but don't try and detract from the fact that he suffered. There is a huge difference between slandering someone casually, right, and doing a slander like that is absolutely vile. Don't do that shit, man. It's absolutely disgusting. I don't want to see any more of it. Please no. Then there are Rem fans. I've genuinely seen a few of them. I don't even remember because it was a long time ago. I genuinely believe the community for the Rem fandom has gotten better, just not good enough. But there was a time where I saw a couple people saying that Subaru should die for rejecting her. Are you guys serious? Like at that point, like I know it happened a long time ago, but it is still just horrifying to even hear someone ever say that or claim that whatsoever. Subaru is an absolute saint for everything he has done for these people. To claim that he should die for rejecting her is absolutely horrific. I will not stand for that. I think that's honestly a permanent blemish on her fandom's record. The fact that you people can say from her fandom that Amelia fans are subhuman after saying a subhuman take like that. It's like, don't throw stones while you're living in a glass house. So I actually want to get into it properly now and discuss what's going on, right? So I do not genuinely dislike characters because of their actions in their series. Okay. Generally, I don't do that because they're characters in a story, all right? They have certain actions that they need to do for the plot to progress. For example, people don't hate villains for being villains unless they're ludicrously villainous, right? Like Shao Tucker is someone you don't hate him because he's a villain. You hate him because he's a filthy, vile human being when you really take a good look at it. I wouldn't hate Rem if I really hadn't had to deal with her fans. Okay, I wouldn't have hated her. I hate characters when they are usually when they are vastly overrated or vastly misunderstood in a positive light when they shouldn't be. Rem is vastly overrated comparative to her actual narrative ability. Rem is not the best written character in ReZero. She's not the best female written character in ReZero. She doesn't even stand a chance against other female characters from other series in terms of writing. Okay? I'm not getting into this discussion, okay? Because it's going to take forever, and I know that Rem fans are going to comment on my video and start arguing with me about it. I don't want to get into those conversations, okay? Look, my overall feelings towards Rem was you gave me a gem, right? You gave me a gem, and I was like, okay, this isn't bad. I don't really like it as much as the other gems, but it's not bad, okay? I acknowledge it's good, it's just not my favorite. And then, so this is what Tape did. He gave me the gem, right? And then Rem fans came up and said, oh, that gem is so much better than you think it is. And then they gave their shit ass takes, practically shitting in my hand. Like, there's a gem in my hand, sure, but it's covered in shit now at this point. And they're saying, oh, you should still like her. You should still like her. Hell no, I'm not gonna like her anymore. You shat all over her character by with these ass takes. Honestly, it's no. And I want to put into account this idea I will stand for in terms of the Amelia camp. Most of the members of the Amelia camp aren't genuinely good people at the beginning of the series. They are people who are pretty much just going along with their goals. There are a few exceptions to this, being Amelia herself, Petra, and Frederica, and probably Otto. Those are the only exceptions to this. Even I don't know about Clem too much, so I'm not going to talk about him. But a lot of the members of the Amelia camp aren't genuinely good people until they meet Subaru. It is Subaru's influence on these people that make them good people. Rem is included in this argument. Rem was not trying to be a good person. She was simply trying to protect her sister and make up for her mistakes back in the past. Honestly, I don't really think most of her actions in the past were mistakes. She's just very self hating, okay? The only thing that I think is genuinely something wrong she did was smiling when Ram lost her horn. Apart from that, she didn't do anything wrong in terms of her past. I mean, jealousy is an ugly emotion, but it's not downright evil. It's not downright evil or bad in any degree. If anything, I'd say self-hatred is more evil than jealousy because it's the thing that sprouts jealousy most of the time. So to further put into account, okay, I want to talk about her actions during arc 2 and yeah, just arc 2. I don't really want to discuss her actions from arc 9 since that's a bit spoiler. Okay? In arc 2, Ren in the first loop didn't do anything wrong. Subaru just died from the curse. There's nothing that she did wrong there. With the sole exception of trying to kill him in his sleep. This, yeah. Never mind, there is something she did wrong in the first loop. But technically, that applies to all of her loops since that thing didn't get erased by the looping. So, yeah, that's more of a thing that she did wrong across all the loops. In loop 2, she literally killed him for practically no reason. Practically no reason at all. He was dying from the curse, right? He was he was using the wall to support himself and trying to go to Amelia, who was literally the only person in the mansion he could trust with his life. And she slimed him out of nowhere. She killed him. I don't understand how anyone can justify this. And people will say it was a mercy kill. Hell no, it was not a mercy kill. She hit him in the arm first, sent him flying, let him stay there, bleeding out for a few seconds. At the very least, I think it was a minute. I don't even know how long it was. In the anime, it felt a lot longer. I don't know how long it was in the novel, okay? But no, okay? It's not good. He was basically practically begging for death in his own mind. When it gets to that point, you know it's not a mercy kill. Then, then she killed him. And you might be saying, oh, she missed. Are you serious? She is a trained battle maid. There is no way she would have missed. Okay? And in the anime, there was literally light coming in from the windows, so she had a good view of him. She would not have missed if she intended to actually hit him in one shot in his head and kill him. She did not miss, she did that shit on purpose. She thought, he's dying anyways, might as well get my anger out. That's not the behavior of a good person back then, okay? And honestly, considering Arc 4, alright, Arc 4 and the Unthinkable Present, I will not completely blame her for this because Arc 4's Unthinkable Presents aren't really confirmed. And because, how do I say it? They are just things created by Echidna, okay? I don't think they're confirmed in any degree. But in that, she did say, oh, Subaru was too far gone in this, like, innocent tone, which is, are you serious? Like, she clearly felt no guilt over what she did back then. Even though he was a dying man to a curse. Like, he was literally dying, and she acknowledges in the unthinkable present. Okay. And that scene really pisses me off. Like, how can you act like that after killing an innocent man? Like, you had suspicions about him, sure. But he had not proven to do anything wrong, and he just died out of nowhere. He was dying out of nowhere. How can you act like that? But honestly, I will put that aside because that is an unthinkable present scene. And I watched that in the anime, so I don't know if it actually happened in the light novel in that way. So I will reserve judgment in that degree. Now let's take into account her third loop. And her third loop was the loop where she tortured him. Okay? Now, a lot of people will justify this saying, oh, they didn't have laws like that where you're not allowed to torture people that come into your house, okay? And stuff like that. But that's just common sense. You shouldn't be doing shit like that. And yes, he was acting very suspicious during that loop. I do think he has fault in what he did. He was holding a knife and looking at Amelia's room. That is something that is definitely not something a mere guest would do. Okay? But the fact of the matter that shows to me that this was not something she did out of the desire to protect people around her, at least in the anime, since I didn't read this in the light novel. Okay, I started the light novel at Arc 5, and it was a long time ago that I read Arc 5. Okay, and I technically not the LN. I read the web novel, but whatever, right? Um, but in the anime, she asks him, "Are you a what was it? Are you a member of another camp that's trying to like infiltrate or something like that?" She said, right? And that is the most stupid reason I could ever consider at this point. It took me a while. I can't believe it took me 2 years to realize, but that is the most absurd and stupid reasoning I could ever imagine. If he was really from a rival camp, he would have allowed Emilia's insignia to be stolen, and he would not have helped her in any regard. And Rem literally knew this, all right? She knew this. She genuinely knew this because it was stated verbatim right in front of her by Roswell that if Emilia had lost her insignia, that she would have lost her right to the throne. She would have literally lost her right to the throne. All right? This is the most bullshit reason she could have given. And sure, it's genuinely because she suspects him of being a witch cultist, okay? But it shows that she is willing to give any reason possible to confirm her suspicions. Any reason, no matter how stupid it is. Genuinely, okay? Then she goes on to torture Subaru, right? Then Subaru flat out denies everything. He just starts crying and stuff, and then Ram kills him. And you might be thinking at that point, oh well, Ram was a good person because she spared his life. No, she didn't. At that point, Ram was realizing that Subaru didn't do anything wrong, and that Ram had tortured an innocent person, and that if Ram found out about that, she would basically be destroyed. She wouldn't be able to forgive herself. So Ram chose the death of an innocent man over the suffering of her own sister for her own actions. No, Ram was not a good person at the beginning. No, I will not hear that. I don't even want to hear about Roswell or Puck or anyone like that. They're not good people. Period. Nothing Subaru did change them in that regard. They're not good people, period. So, as you can see, despite this, okay, despite this, I didn't hate Rem, okay? At these were points that made me hate her fans because instead of actually giving reasons as to why Rem is a good person, that makes sense, okay? Because there are reasons you can put forward to her being a good person after Arc 2, okay? Subaru changed her. Instead of saying stuff like that, they try to justify her actions in Arc 2. They try to say, even when they don't justify it, they say it's reasonable. I don't think it's reasonable. Even suspecting Subaru of being a witch cultist is an iffy thing. Because Puck gave him the clear. Puck would never allow a witch cultist near Amelia. And he has the ability to an extent, understand a person's emotional state. Sure, it's only surface level, but it would be really. I don't really think there's a way to hide inner intentions of harming Amelia while also showing nothing but love to her on a surface level. It just feels strange to think that that would be possible. And sure, you could say it's admiration for the witch, but then the emotion wouldn't be love or anything like affection. It would be worship, which is a bit different toward than just affection or love. And I think Puck would have been able to realize that. So she went against orders of Roswell, who told her explicitly not to do shit like this. And she did this shit despite the fact that Puck cleared him, despite the fact that Beatrice cleared him as well. Beatrice also cleared him through a mana check. Alright? She cleared him as well. And she did this shit still. These actions are not justifiable or reasonable. They are acts of an impulsive child who's incapable of thinking logically for a second. And Subaru literally acknowledges this later in the, not this entirely, sorry. He acknowledges that Rem is stupid, that she is not a smart or clever person. This is a genuine flaw that she has, okay? The fact that she worked through this to an extent and moved past it to a certain extent is what makes her a good character. Yet people try to justify and try to say that it's reasonable when it's not. And then people will pop the argument that, oh, it's not the same REM. She doesn't remember any of that. That doesn't change anything. You know that, right? Like, if I were to rob you, right? Like, I genuinely took everything you had, and then because I'm drunk, okay? I'm drunk, right? I'm drunk. I'm off my rocker. I steal all of your money, all of your assets, all of your deeds, everything that you own, right? Then I'm caught by a judge, right? I'm caught by the police, and then everything you own is returned to you. Would you forgive me for stealing your shit? Hell no. You'd seek prosecution. Just because you forget a few memories, it doesn't justify, or, sorry, even if you forget the memories of doing bad things, it doesn't absolve you of your sins. It doesn't. Because the person that suffered from it is still suffering from it. Now, this was a light version of what, like, comparison, okay? It was an extremely light comparison. Now we'll take it to the extreme instead. Say you have a sister, right? She's just minding her own business at a club. Not that I would think that going to a club is a good idea at all. Just let's not get into that, okay? That's not what this video is about. Let's say she's minding her own business at a club. A guy approaches her, spikes her drink, and then he takes her to her apartment and does horrific things to her. All right? She doesn't have any physical scars, or she's not, pregnant or anything. All right? So she has no physical symptoms. No one knows that it happened. Okay? And he was drunk, so he doesn't remember what happened at all. He doesn't know that he did those things. Okay? Maybe the putting stuff in her drink stuff doesn't make sense in that regard. Let's just say that he was drunk and he did that shit to her without really completely being in full control of himself. Okay? Then then you find out about it and you're like, what would be your reaction to that? Are you going to forgive him just because he forgot the horrible things he did to her? Hell no. Even though she doesn't have any physical trauma from the experience, she has a ton of mental trauma. This is the exact same situation with Subaru. Sure, he doesn't have any physical scars or physical trauma from the experience, but he has massive mental trauma. And I actually put grape and torture at a very similar tier of abuse because torture is extreme physical abuse, but grape is also like really bad physical and emotional abuse. I put them in a very similar tier, okay? So I don't even think this is severely above the in terms of comparison. Okay? It is I cannot understand how people would even be able to wave off torture as justifiable or reasonable. The only circumstances where I would ever consider that reasonable is in terms of a genuine crisis. Not just suspicions, okay? Not just being suspicious of someone, but a genuine crisis where you need information and it shouldn't be done on a whim, okay? You should be giving the person a chance to explain themselves properly first. Only when they don't do that, then you can do that kind of shit. And even then, I wouldn't condole. I wouldn't um, condole any of that. Okay, I still don't think it's right. And people have brought up the fact that Subaru and Felix allegedly tortured that witch cultist in Arc 3. And I have not read the LN for Arc 3. And the web novel for Arc 3 is absolute dog shit because it hasn't been translated properly. Okay? There isn't even freaking 20 chapters of that shit. Okay? If I'm going to read the web novel, I genuinely will just wait. Just wait for that shit to update. Then only will I read the full web novel from the very beginning. Okay? Getting back onto point. Okay? I would rather say that that is an unjustifiable action than say that REM's actions are justifiable. would genuinely go against my goat Natsuki Subaru than ever go with this shit. Okay? No. Hell no. In one of my fics, alright, Emilia found out about Rem killing and torturing Subaru. And of course, she crashed out like any normal person would. Okay? Keep in mind, Emilia attempted to murder a person who killed Fortuna when she was a literal child. And children genuinely, they're not the type to just go straight into murder, alright? Generally, they don't do that kind of shit. Generally, they're so fucking scared they don't want to do shit. And yet, she was capable of that as a child. How the hell did you think she would react to that as an adult? Okay? And even still, I toned down that shit and said, she's just gonna say, I won't let you be Subaru's wife. That is literally the maximum consequence that she was facing. And yet, people in my comment section, literally just two people, by the way, but honestly, it's disgusting that there were even two people, were accusing me of character bashing in my writing. What? In what reality does anyone believe that Emilia would ever forgive, let alone even allow Rem near Subaru after learning that kind of shit? And then they brought up fucking Spica, as if that would change anything. Spica is very different in terms of Rem. Rem only lost a few memories. She only lost the memories of her horrible actions. Spica lost literally every sliver of her memories. Every sliver of her memories. Not a single sliver was left. Alright? Her entire personality was completely different. Okay? She was essentially a completely different person. Even when Rem lost all of her memories in Arc 7, she was still a similar person to her main version. Honestly, that version of her was more reasonable than the main Rem. I will never say that Rem is badly written, or that she is a genuinely horrifyingly bad person. She has definitely changed for the better, and she's definitely a well written character. But the amount of fans that do this shit makes me absolutely despise her. Yes, I will do the who is Rem shit for the rest of my life. And it is not because I hate Rem, it is because I hate you dumbasses who defend her horrific actions. Hell no. And the funniest part about these two commenters in my fanfic is that the instant I put Rem in the chapter where she was suffering consequences, that's when they decided to criticize my fic. Before then, they were dead silent. They said nothing. Alright? None of them said shit. And you might be thinking, oh, you don't know how to take feedback. I do know how to take feedback. My fic has been heavily influenced by the commenters in that medium. Okay? I have taken ideas that they have brought out to me and implemented them in the story. They have said, oh, I think the whole thing where this isn't being addressed should be addressed. And I'm like, okay, I guess I did wrong there. I'll make sure to address it in the next chapter. I have done shit like that. You can check the comments section of my fanfic, Returning to My Old World with an adorable Great Spirit and Half Elf. It's on AO3, okay? You know my name. You can check it out, okay? It is the one with the most hits, okay? You will see that I have taken inspiration from my comment section. I have taken feedback, and I have improved. I have gone back and edited chapters just due to the fact that I wanted to improve my writing. These people really accuse me of character bashing. Like, check my re-remembered one-shot in my one-shot fanfic. Ren literally gets married to Subaru, and she honestly has an equal role to Emilia. You accuse me of hating Rem so much that I wouldn't be able to write her as, an equal to Amelia, but I have done that. Then in my Code X ReZero fic, sure, there's no Subaru in that fic, okay? It was Aina Koji instead. I just thought the contrast between Aina Koji and Subaru was interesting, which is why I wanted to do that fic. Sure, she didn't get a romantic relationship in that fic, but she was still treated well, okay? Sure, she didn't have as big of an impact in the story, but I never bashed on her. I stayed true to her character. I had some funny moments that I put between her and Kiyotaka. I made sure that she still had a good relationship with Ram, and she didn't even lose her memories in that fic. She didn't lose her memories or name or anything. If anything, I treated her better than the freaking author. She even got a best friend, even though she didn't get a lover. Like a genuine friend. Not just, oh, Shibaru-kun, Shibaru-kun. An actual friend. I when I saw those first comments, I was genuinely insulted that people would think I was bashing on Rem. I wrote the chapter where Emilia found out about Rem's actions ages ago. And at that point, I didn't even hate Rem at that point. I was still under the impression that, oh, she's fine. Alright? I was under that impression. So at that point, I was just thinking, oh, don't worry. Even though I did this chapter, I'll fix it so that Rem can be with Subaru. It was only later in the fic that I decided against that. Okay? It's only been recently that I decided against adding her in the relationship for that fic. Seriously. I decided that shit like a couple of days ago, where I just changed it up and said, nah, never mind, I'm not gonna add her in this. I'm gonna focus on Emilia and Subaru. Okay? Like, at the beginning of the story, this was primarily a fic between Emilia and Subaru. Like, what do you expect coming into this shit? Like, you're a Rem fan, right? But you're coming into an Emilia X Subaru fic. What do you expect from the fanfic? There were people in my comment section that weren't at all expecting Rem to be part of the relationship, even though it was heavily implied several times that that Rem and Subaru would have some kind of importance later in the fic in terms of their relationship. It was implied, but still there were people who didn't think it would happen. In fact, there wasn't even a Rem X Subaru tag in the fic. What do you expect from this shit, man? Like, they really expect Emilia to empathize, sorry, with Rem killing Subaru. I don't understand this shit, man. I feel like this shit is just fucking wild, man. Like, these people genuinely just came here because they were like, oh no, my waifu's getting hurt and she's getting consequences for her actions that I think she doesn't deserve to have consequences for. And these people will genuinely shit on my writing and saying that it's horrible. It is a fluff fic. It is a fanfic purely for Emilia X Subaru. It just has a few tense scenes. That's literally it. 80% of the fic is just Emilia X Subaru romance. Genuinely. It is not to be taken seriously whatsoever. It is just a fanfic that I did for fun. To give Subaru happiness. That is literally all I did. I write this fic because I'm tired of seeing Subaru suffer in Reforgotten fics and in the main story. I'm sick of it, so I want to write fluff fics where he gets to be happy. Okay? That is the sole reason I wrote that fanfiction. Also, I was inspired by another fanfiction where it was literally only one chapter and I really thought it was interesting. You can actually check it out when you go into that fanfic in particular because it has inspired by this fic. You can literally tap on it and go to the fic. Okay? I recommend it since it's pretty nice, but it is only one chapter. It's abandoned under my impression. I haven't seen it in a while, so it could be that there's a second chapter now. I don't think so, though. So yeah, I just wanted to bring up this discussion because people have been accusing me of character bashing. I'm not character bashing. Okay? No. Just no. Just no. I've treated Rem really well across my fanfics. It is just a matter of being an unfortunate circumstance for this fic in particular, where she was faced with circumstances where she just couldn't win. Did I enjoy writing the scenes where she got to face her consequences? Yes, I did enjoy it, because I genuinely don't like her. But did I bash on her character? The only time where you can actually argue this is literally in jokes. I will literally only bash on her character when I'm joking around. There will literally be scenes where I'm like, who is Rem in the story? And then literally not even 5 lines later, I will say, I'm just joking in an author note. That didn't happen. Like, I would just say in an author's note, AM, author's note. I'm just joking. That didn't happen. Don't worry. Okay? Those are the only moments where you can accuse me of character bashing. But it's funny as hell, so who cares? It's funny as hell. It doesn't actually impact the story whatsoever. So yeah, I'm gonna do that shit. I'm just really disappointed in those 3 people, honestly. And they honestly bring up so much bullshit freaking arguments over and over. When I refute those arguments, they claim, no, it didn't work, and then they say this other argument that doesn't make sense. Like, I guess it makes a little sense, but when you actually look into it, it's not correct whatsoever. They're, they sound smart, but they're not actually smart arguments. I just, like, I love reading comments on my fanfics, okay? It's one of the things I love the most about writing fanfics. I get to see comments where people are surprised by things that happen. Or people are like, oh, you could have done this better. Okay. One of the main reasons I started writing fan fictions is to improve my writing. I genuinely think writing fan fictions is an excellent way to start off your career in writing. Because it's basically writing but with training wheels. You have characters, you have a setting, you can work with it however you want. Okay? And then you can write what you want. It is basically writing a novel but with training wheels, which I think is a great way to train up your writing capability. It is also a great way to test out things and see if they are received well. For example, I give certain characters in my fanfics abilities that I plan to give characters in my original novel that I will write once I'm done with fanfics, because I want to see how these people will react to these abilities. Okay? I want to see how these people will react to these abilities, see if they like them or not, and then whether I should include them in my actual novel. I love reading these comments because of that kind of thing. But reading these ass takes in my comment section made me, for the first time since I've ever written fan fictions, this is literally the only time when I've ever written fan fictions where I've actually disliked reading my comments. Like, you don't know how horrifying that was for me to realize. I have been writing fan fictions for years, for at least probably, I don't even know, 3, 4, maybe even 5, 6 years. I've been writing fan fictions. I have never once disliked reading my comment section to the point where I didn't even want to open my inbox or my notifications. This is the only time where I've genuinely thought I really don't want to open my inbox. It's I'm genuinely sorry, and I know a lot of people will not have gotten this far in the video, okay? Because I'm fucking yapping so much. But I really just needed to vent. And for anyone who stuck through all the way through this, thank you very much, okay? You don't have to like the video or subscribe. I'm just happy that you sat through all of this. Because I was yapping my ass off. Thank you very much for getting all the way through. And if you didn't, that's fine as well. I'm just glad that you heard me out to at least a certain extent. Okay? I'm going to end the video now. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.